Imagine this. It's early morning. The news just broke that a major storm is heading your way, or perhaps a citywide power outage has just been declared. You grab your keys, jump in the car, and head to the nearest store. But when you walk through those doors, the shelves are already stripped. The bottled water is gone, the canned goods are gone, and the lines stretch so far back you can't even see the register. That sick, helpless feeling in your stomach, that is the feeling of being unprepared. Here's the truth most people don't want to accept. That moment always comes faster than anyone expects, and when it does not wait for you to catch up. But here's the good news. If you're watching this video right now, you still have time, because today we're going over the 12 most critical non-food supplies that disappear from store shelves almost instantly when any emergency is declared. These are the items that even experienced preppers sometimes overlook, and they are the ones that will determine whether your household stays functional, safe, and comfortable, or whether you're left scrambling with everyone else. Stay with us until the end, because the last few items on this list are the ones most people never think about until it is far too late. Welcome to Essential Pantry, the channel built for people who believe that taking care of your family starts long before the crisis ever arrives. If that resonates with you, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a video. Now, let's get into it. Let's start with the foundation, the supplies that keep your household physically operational when the infrastructure around you begins to fail. Think about everything in your daily life that runs on fuel or power: your car, your generator, your ability to heat your home or cook a meal. Now imagine all of that being stripped away in a matter of hours. That is exactly what happens when an emergency is declared, and fuel is always the very first casualty. Gas stations run out faster than most people can comprehend. Lines form that stretch for miles, and those lines are filled with people who waited too long. But here is the part that even many preppers get wrong about fuel. Simply filling up a few gas cans is not enough. Gasoline has a shelf life. Left untreated, it begins to break down in as little as 6 months. The fuel in those cans becomes stale, and stale fuel can damage your engine or render your generator completely useless at the worst possible moment. The solution is two-part. First, invest in high-quality, approved gas cans, the kind that seal properly and are built to last. Second, and more importantly, invest in fuel stabilizer additives. These products, when added to your stored gasoline, can dramatically extend its usable life. But buying the right supplies is only half the battle. You also need a system. The best approach is a simple rotation. Use your oldest stored fuel in your lawnmower or daily vehicle, and then replace it with fresh gas and a new dose of stabilizer. Think of it as a living energy bank that you are constantly refreshing. When the emergency comes, your fuel supply is ready, fresh, and fully functional. Now let's talk about something that people often dismiss as basic, but during a crisis it becomes surprisingly valuable: batteries. We live in a world of wireless charging and USB-C cables, and it's easy to assume that traditional alkaline batteries are becoming obsolete. They are not. When the power goes out and your phone charger is useless, your rechargeable devices will eventually die. But a flashlight loaded with fresh AA batteries, that will keep working for days. The smartest strategy here is simple: buy in bulk. Hardware stores regularly run sales on mega packs of AA, AAA, C, and D batteries. When you see those deals, take advantage of them. Stock up across all the sizes your household uses. And just like fuel, storage matters. Batteries lose their charge faster when stored in warm or humid environments. Keep them cool and dry, and they will hold their power for years. The rotation principle applies here too. Cycle your older batteries into active use and replace them with fresh ones so that your emergency supply is always at peak capacity. Now let's talk about something that people often dismiss as basic, but during a crisis it becomes surprisingly valuable: propane. Propane is one of the most underrated emergency fuels available to the average household. It is shelf-stable, meaning it does not degrade over time the way gasoline does. It is versatile. You can use it to cook, to heat water, and depending on your setup, to heat a room. And it is widely available in two very practical formats. The large 20-pound tanks, the kind you use for a backyard grill, are perfect for extended home use. The smaller, green 1-pound canisters are ideal for portable camping stoves, which are an essential piece of emergency cooking equipment. If you have a large home propane tank, make it a habit to get it topped off well before it hits the 25% mark. Waiting until it's nearly empty is the same mistake people make with gasoline, and it leaves you vulnerable when supply chains suddenly tighten. Now we move into an area that hits even closer to home, the health and personal care supplies that most households never think to stockpile, but that become absolutely critical when pharmacies are overwhelmed and store shelves are bare. Let's start with the one that is without question the most serious on this entire list: prescription medications. This is the most difficult category to prepare for, and the reason is systemic. Modern insurance and pharmacy systems are built to prevent you from having more than a 30 or 90-day supply of any prescription medication at any given time. There are legitimate reasons for this, but from a preparedness standpoint, it creates a dangerous vulnerability. When an emergency is declared, pharmacy lines become completely unmanageable within hours. People who are already running low on critical medications, blood pressure pills, thyroid medications, diabetes management drugs, suddenly find themselves without access. The solution is not dramatic or complicated, but it requires discipline. Pick up your prescription refills on the very first day that your insurance will allow it. Not the day you run out, not a few days before, the very first day the refill becomes available. This practice alone, done consistently over several months, will build you a meaningful buffer. Even an extra 2 or 3 weeks of supply can make the difference between a serious medical crisis and a manageable situation. While prescriptions require careful navigation, over-the-counter medications have no such restrictions, and this is where you can really build your stockpile. There are 2 categories of OTC medication that rise to the top of every serious prepper's list: pain relievers and anti-diarrheal medication. Pain relievers, whether you prefer acetaminophen or ibuprofen, are obvious: headaches, fever, inflammation, minor injuries. In a stressful emergency situation, the likelihood of needing a pain reliever goes up dramatically. Stock these in large quantities. But the one that most people underestimate, the one that might actually be the most important OTC medication in your kit, is anti-diarrheal medicine. That might sound like an odd priority, but consider this. In a survival situation, access to clean water becomes uncertain, food handling becomes less controlled, stress wreaks havoc on the digestive system. A simple stomach bug that you would normally recover from in a day or 2 can spiral into severe dehydration in a crisis scenario, and dehydration kills. Anti-diarrheal medication is inexpensive, widely available, and has a long shelf life. Buy it in bulk now while it's easy to find and cheap to purchase. Beyond medications, personal hygiene is an area where preparation pays enormous dividends, not just physically, but psychologically. When people are dirty and unable to clean themselves or their clothing, morale deteriorates quickly. And when morale breaks down, decision-making suffers, conflicts arise, and the mental weight of the situation becomes nearly unbearable. Soaps, detergents, and toothpastes vanish from store shelves quickly during a crisis, and they are items most people never think to stockpile. Bar soaps are particularly excellent for long-term storage. Kept in their original packaging in a cool, dry place, many varieties of bar soap will last almost indefinitely. Stock a wide variety: hand soap, dish soap, laundry detergent, shampoo. These items are inexpensive when purchased during normal times, and they are absolutely priceless when the shelves are empty. The ability to take a basic wash, brush your teeth, and put on clean clothes during an extended emergency is one of the simplest and most powerful ways to maintain your family's sense of normalcy and dignity. We've covered mobility, power, health, and hygiene. Now let's look at the final set of supplies, the ones that address everyday household comfort, the security of your family, and the practical reality of functioning in a world where normal systems may have temporarily broken down. We start here with a category that might seem simple, but covers several important items across different household needs. Think back to 2020. When the uncertainty began, the very first thing that disappeared from store shelves across the entire country was toilet paper. It became a cultural punchline almost immediately, but the lesson underneath it was completely real. People instinctively understand that hygiene and comfort are not luxuries, they are necessities, and they were right to prioritize it. The problem was that they waited until the moment of crisis to think about it. Beyond toilet paper, consider the practical value of paper plates and disposable utensils. This might seem like a minor convenience, but in a scenario where water is being rationed or your plumbing is compromised, every drop of water matters. Washing dishes consumes a surprisingly significant amount of water. A stack of paper plates and plastic utensils allows you to eat without using a single drop of your drinking water supply. Small decisions like this are what separate a household that functions smoothly under pressure from one that burns through its critical resources in the first 48 hours. For families with infants or toddlers, diapers move immediately to the top of the non-negotiable list. Disposable diapers are easy and convenient, but they are bulky and they will eventually run out. A genuine long-term preparedness move is to invest in a supply of cloth diapers. Yes, the upfront cost is higher, but cloth diapers are reusable, washable, and they will serve your child indefinitely. Even if your children are past that stage of life, keeping a small supply of cloth diapers is wise. They have remarkable utility for barter and for helping neighbors who may not have been as prepared as you. And do not forget the animals in your home. Pets are full members of the family, but they are often the forgotten ones when emergency planning happens. Dry pet food contains fats that can go rancid, so rotation and airtight storage are essential. If you open a bag and it smells off, that Play-Doh smell is a reliable indicator it has turned and should be discarded. Canned pet food, on the other hand, has a very long shelf life, much like canned food for humans. Build a reserve of both, enough to keep your animals fed comfortably for several months. In a crisis, the well-being of your pets directly impacts the well-being of your family. Now let's talk about light. This might seem straightforward, but most households are dangerously underprepared when it comes to lighting. Having one good flashlight is simply not enough. Think about what happens during a complete, extended power outage. You need light in the kitchen, light in the bathroom, light in the children's rooms, light to read by, light to perform basic tasks safely after dark. One flashlight passed from person to person is not a solution, it's a bottleneck. Build a layered lighting system. Start with rechargeable LED lanterns, which are excellent for illuminating an entire room. Add solar-powered lights that can recharge during the day and provide free, reliable light at night. Keep battery-operated flashlights as your dependable backup when other sources fail. And critically, assign every member of your household their own personal light source. Store it in a fixed, designated spot that everyone knows. When the lights go out unexpectedly at 2 in the morning, your child should not have to stumble around in the dark trying to find a flashlight. It should be right where it always is, ready to go. Now, one of the most overlooked preparedness items, and one that reveals just how fragile our assumptions about modern life really are, cash. We live in a world where money is largely invisible. It sits in bank accounts, travels through card readers, and lives on our phones. Most people carry very little physical currency on any given day. But here's the reality. When the power grid fails, ATMs stop working. Card readers go offline. Digital transactions become impossible. The person selling bags of ice out of their truck or the neighbor with a generator willing to share resources will not accept your Venmo. They will need cash. Keep a meaningful reserve of physical currency at home in a secure location. Prioritize small denominations. 1s, 5s, and 10s are far more practical than large bills in an emergency exchange. You need to be able to make exact change for small transactions without relying on anyone to break a large bill. This reserve does not need to be enormous, but it needs to exist. The moment the power goes out is not the time to discover that you have no physical money in your home. And finally, we arrive at what is perhaps the most serious and most personal item on this entire list, the matter of security and self-defense. This is a topic that requires honest acknowledgement of an uncomfortable reality. When societal stability breaks down, when emergencies stretch beyond a day or two and resources become scarce, law enforcement becomes overwhelmed. The ability of authorities to respond to every call for help deteriorates. The responsibility for protecting your family and your home shifts, at least in part, to you. History is consistent on this point. Every time a major crisis emerges, a natural disaster, a widespread civil disruption, an extended blackout, ammunition and firearms disappear from store shelves almost overnight, and prices for whatever remains spike dramatically. The people who wait until trouble is visible are the people who end up paying 3 times the fair price for whatever is left, if anything is left at all. The time to address this category is during peacetime, when supplies are readily available, when you can take the time to train properly, and when you can make thoughtful, informed decisions rather than panic purchases. Whatever your household's approach to security looks like, and that will be deeply personal and dependent on your specific situation, your local laws, and your family's values, the key principle is the same as every other item on this list. Decide now. Prepare now, not in the middle of the storm. So let's come back to where we started. That image of the empty store shelves, the long lines, the stripped aisles, the panic on people's faces. That moment is real, and it will come again. The only question is which side of it you'll be standing on. The people in that panicked crowd are not bad people. They are simply people who assumed that the system would always be there to catch them. They are people who told themselves they would prepare eventually, and eventually never came. You are not that person. You just spent time building a real, actionable understanding of the 12 supplies that matter most when it counts. Now the only thing left to do is act on it. Start today. Even one item on this list checked off is one step further than you were an hour ago. This is what Essential Pantry is all about. Practical, no-nonsense preparation that keeps your family strong, safe, and self-reliant, whatever comes your way. If this video gave you value, please leave a like. It helps more people find this content when they need it most. Subscribe so you're here for the next one, and share this with someone in your life who needs to hear it. The best time to prepare was yesterday. The second best time is right now.